What is going on, good people out there? If you see this logo, you must know what time it is. It is fantasy time. I'm pretty sure a lot of you all have may have had a draft or two already. A lot of you may have not had a draft, coming up yet. And if you haven't, we are here to help on some of those strategies and some of those players that you can find, under the crevices and stuff like that, man. I am Hill. I am from the three man weave. Hill going here regardless. I have some individuals with me. You've seen this guy on the bottom right here. If you've seen this guy, if you've seen There's No Crying in Fantasy, that is actually the original host. I'm just here, just substituting right now, what I'm saying? But introduce yourself, my brother.
Scrap, like you said, Hill, original host. There's no crying in fantasy. Good to be back, and let's get this started.
And as we don't know, we are going live absolute on the best of the best fantasy football Instagram page right now. So we celebrating 10 years in that. That was a milestone. And that flew by. We have somebody else with us, another fantasy expert. Introduce yourself.
What's up, y'all? Marcus, two-time reigning three-man weave fantasy football champ back to back. Gonna make it 3 this year. Champion a bunch of other leagues and stuff, but that's not important. I'm here for y'all. I'm here for the people.
That was a nice one. We cannot have it. We cannot have it be 3 times in a row.
Oh, 3 feet.
Yeah, we cannot have that. We got to do what we got to do to make that not happen. Let's go. Just give a brief overview about your fantasy experience. I know I touched on and said that we are celebrating 10 years of best in the best. But how long y'all been playing fantasy football?
Well, I'll start with that. Probably been playing for about 15 years now. Started with a league that we call MG. It was a standard league, 14 teams. We call that the Gauntlet. And then kind of branched out into more PPR leagues, 12-team leagues. I'm also in Auction League, which is also a kind of Suedo Dynasty keeper. We keep 5 keepers each year. Keeper leagues that I'm in, we keep 3 keepers, and then one league we keep 2 keepers. So well-versed in the fantasy verse of different leagues and formats.
Okay. Marcus?
I would say I've been doing fantasy for at least 16 years. Started off with a standard, and I don't think telling my age back then. Standard league wasn't PPR; it was straight up standard league. So I started off in a 10-team standard league and kind of worked my way up to some PPR leagues. Did some keeper, only in one keeper league. Did one auction league, couldn't stand it. Did some leagues with some IDPs and Superflex, horrible. But as far as but I've had experience in all kinds of leagues. My favorite leagues by far is my keeper leagues, and there's always room for a redraft league. But I've been doing this for about 16 years.
I'm good. I think I'm around the 15-year range as well. I'm more of a traditional fantasy player as far as you're concerned. I'm more PPR league and redraft. That's been my leagues that I've been. I haven't had. I've had the opportunity to do a keeper league. I just didn't. I'm maybe eventually I'll get comfortable and I will get in one, but I'm more of a redraft kind of guy, and that's where my research comes from and where But I like the versatility that both of you guys have been in. That gives us more of an avenue to go from, like you say, more versatility, expertise in multiple ways to play. So that's a good thing. Now I want to ask you maybe a different question that maybe not been asked before. What is a draft strategy that you used to live by that you do not use anymore? Anybody can go first.
I'll go first on this one. I think for like the first 5-6 years of my fantasy experience, I was always running back heavy. I wanted as many top tier running backs as I could get. I mean, I remember it's been some. I remember one draft, I went 4 rounds with straight 4 running backs back to back to back to back before I took any other position groups. Like I used to be a super running back heavy guy, and as just like anything, as the league progressed to being more pass friendly and the rules are kind of tailored around the passing game and the quarterback and the way defenses are playing and receiver, like you got more and more 1,000-yard receivers. I've just, even with injuries now and I kind of switched over to I want to get more wide receiver ones, as many wide receiver ones on my roster as possible. Like running backs are cool. I get one stud and then kind of build around that. Maybe pick out some sleeper running backs to kind of to kind of cohort with that stud running back, then I'm fine. But I want as many top tier wide receivers as I can possible. One is running backs more injury prone than wide receivers, so you can draft a stud running back. We've seen it with different running backs where you might have one and then they're hurt week 5, week 6, and then you're playing the waiver wire for the rest of the season trying to piece it together just to try to hold on for a playoff spot. So yeah, it didn't. Even the way NFL's now is, back in the day, every NFL team had like a bell cow running back. Those days are far and few between. You can probably name on three fingers how many true bell cow running backs there are in the NFL. Most teams now are going to a committee approach, and I don't think that's going away. So you got to kind of adjust the way the NFL is going.
That is true.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Running back used to be the way, because of the way that the league was, but now the league has switched. It's become more of a passing league. So a lot of fantasy leagues play PPR. So you're targeting wide receivers more often than not in the first couple of rounds. It's also dependent on your league structure. But what I'll say is I used to avoid tight ends like crazy. Like I used to select tight ends like in my last couple of rounds, or like, I would fill up all my other position slots. But now with tight ends some tight ends becoming almost like receivers with like 90 to 100 catches a season. I think you can target some of the tight ends earlier, like Brock Bowers, like Trey McBride, because you're getting wide receiver value. So I think that's something that I may have switched up over the years, is looking at some of the tight ends that are heavy pass catchers.
That's a good. I know it's funny for me. I used to be, when I first started, I always had to go. I just had to get Romo. And I'm a Cowboy fan, so I'm like, I gotta have Romo as I'm starting. Because I'm like, he's going to consistently give me 15 to 20 points. I'm like, that's all I really need. If I get everything else handled, I know a lot of people don't want him, don't like him. I know I can always lean on. I can get Romo. That was my strategy, and then I had to get up out of that. I had to figure that out. I'm like, this is not working for you, my guy.
You think?
You need to evolve, brother. So that was one of the strategies that I had to get up out of there. I had to start valuing more mobile quarterbacks as the game evolved, because like you said, even the statue quarterbacks, and you can say what you want about a certain individual, but like he can't throw, but his value of rushing is way better in fantasy than in real life, and sometimes you have to separate the two from that aspect. So it took me a while to get away from that aspect.
It's funny you said that, because me and Scrappers had this conversation offline before about a mobile quarterback could have horrible stats NFL wise and still give you crazy fantasy numbers. Like, I've had games in the past with Justin Fields where Justin Fields threw 2 interceptions, but Justin Fields also had 80 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns, and I had like 20 plus fantasy points. So you look at the stat line, you're like, damn, Justin had a horrible game, but fantasy wise, Justin got me 20 points. I'm all right,
Just in that same in that year that the Eagles started 10-2, and then they went on that collapse. You would look at Jalen Hurts and was like, yo, what is going on? What statistically, what are they doing in real life? But when you really looked at it in fantasy wise, he was still one of the best fantasy quarterbacks. So you have to separate fantasy from real life. And a lot of people can't really do that. It took me it took me a long time to grasp that concept for real. That's why I'm on the lower level. So I'm hosting over here. But more so, like, let's move on to how y'all would feel about injured players, the ones that are before. Like, let's look at it from an aspect of, you haven't drafted yet, and this person is already nicked up. He's injured now. How do you feel about drafting that particular player?
If the price is right, anybody's draftable. It all depends on where you're getting them at that point. Like, you have to bake in. For me, you have to bake in their injury. How kind of do your research on how serious it is. what it's going to look like. And there's plenty of resources out there. I'm not going to name them because I got to draft at you later here. But it's plenty of resources out there that you can kind of look at the injury, what the estimated dip in production may be, what the ramp-up time would be, when would they be 100%, and you bake that into your own personal ADP. And some sites do a good job of doing it already. Sometimes you got to make little tweaks yourself. And my personal opinion, the right player at the right price is always a good pick. You just got to kind of bake that into your ADP.
Yeah, I think for some players, you have to really evaluate the risk. Like Devon Achane, what he's going through right now, soft tissue injury, that's scary. And for where you're going to draft him at, like round 2, are you going to pick him in round 2, or are you going to let somebody else pick him? And I think a lot of times when you see injuries like that pop up, a lot of people will let somebody else just take on that injury risk. But then there's some players that are injured right now, like Brandon Ayuk, for example. He's going to be out 7 to 10 weeks. If he falls to a certain point, are you willing to pick him up so that maybe you have it for your playoffs? Are you willing to burn that bench spot? So I think it's just about evaluating where you draft that player and what the injury risk is. There's some players, like I'll give you an example in Best of the Best. Joe Mixon fell. I don't remember what round, maybe round 8, like that. And I was like, I'm picking him up as my RB3 because I'm like, he's probably going to come back and the Texans are going to need him. So I can probably flex him or something at some point. So it's worth picking him up at that point. So it's just about evaluating the player, the risk, and what draft round they're in.
I also think it has a lot to do with your league format and how the commissioner sets up the league and how many IR spots you have. If you have a league that doesn't provide IR spots, are you willing to burn a bench spot, and how long are you willing to hold that bench spot? If you got a league that has IR spots 1 or maybe 2, then you say, okay, I can take on that risk because I can just, if he gets hurt, I can slap in an IR spot. I can draft their handcuff, or I can pick up another equal level player and just says, hey, until this player gets back, this player can kind of hold the line for me. So I think your league format has a lot to kind of do with those decisions, as well as if your league commissioner allows IR spots or not.
Now let's stay right there. Like, how do y'all feel about IR spots? Because me personally, I didn't deal with IR spots until COVID. And I mean, once COVID hit, that's when we actually utilized it, and I haven't utilized it since. Now I'm not opposed of it. I'm just asking, how do y'all feel about it?
I don't like IR. Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I don't like IR spots. I feel like as a good manager, you should know how to manage your roster. If you have a player that's injured that may come back later in the season, I think it's time for you to evaluate, do you need to trade that player if you need to make a run? So, as a good manager, you should know what you have to do instead of just having an IR spot, and you can easily just put that player in your IR spot.
And see, I differ, especially if it's a big man. Like if it's a 12-team league, I think IR spots are crucial. One is if you got a star player. I get it. If you got some guy you picked up a flex and he gets hurt and he's going to be out multiple weeks, more than likely you're going to release him to the wire, pick up somebody that's can better suit. But I think IR spots, especially in a 12-team league, are crucial, especially if one of your studs gets hurt. Because what happens is, just say Joe Mixon. Somebody draft Joe Mixon, they says, you know what, I don't have an IR spot. I got some bye weeks coming up. I can't afford to hold on. I would be pissed as a league member if Joe Mixon hit the waiver wire and then somebody else picked them up and stashed them because their bench was already dead anyway. And now that potentially got league winning upside when he comes back in 8 to 10 weeks. So whenever he does decide to come back. So I think IR to me is more crucial in 12-team leagues. 10 can be iffy depending on the parameters of your league and how deep your benches are. But anything less than 10, no, I don't want IR spots. But I think in a 12-team league, I think at least one IR spot should be admitted to the league. My personal preference, I think we need an IR spot.
I mean, like you said, it's a gift and a curse on that one. Because like you said, I do try to lean on, like you said, that's a strategy at this point. Like, the injury happened, what you going to do? You know what I'm saying? It's somebody on your bench that you can get rid of, that you can make an adjustment of. Like, I've lived both of it. I've utilized the IR spot, and I use it as a crutch. I'm like, oh yeah, he hurt. Yeah, let me go ahead. And then got picked up somebody that I ain't had no business picking up. But that's a strategy as well. But at the same time, I've had to hold on to a person. Full transparency, I had CMC last year. Y'all know what CMC dealt with last year.
You poor soul.
Exactly. But like I said, I never cut him, kept him on the bench. He came back. I gave me a couple games, but at the end of the day, I had to maneuver around that. If I had an IR spot, he on the IR and I'm killing it with the waiver or the fab. Come on, man.
It all depends. It depends how competitive the league is too. Because if you're in a competitive league, it ain't too many studs sitting out there on waivers. Like, I've been in some leagues where studs just sitting out there for days. I'm like, people really sleep out here. And I think we've all been in leagues like that where, like, I can't believe I just picked this guy for free, like on a Tuesday. And like, then you got some leagues where it's super, super competitive that it's like, it's dog eat dog, and like it's the cupboard is bare out there. So it all has to depend on your league. Like I'm in a lot of super competitive. I don't think I'm in too many leagues where the owners are kind of just like sleep at the wheel, where I could just get away with it. I'm in leagues where IR spots are crucial because it's like as soon as that player hit that waiver, them fab bids are going in. Like got you, you know what I'm saying? Like got you. So it all depends on your league also.
This wasn't on the docket, but we can just keep it quick. Fab or waiver? How do y'all feel about
fab?
I like both. I'm not opposed to either or. And in best of the best, we switch it up every year. So I like playing both.
I was equal opportunity. Like I feel like if a player hits the waiver, everybody has the opportunity to get that player. Like if I got a stud team, but I just so happen to have the number one waiver spot, I could just sit on it. And I could, and then wait for the league winning player to present themselves, and then they're automatically going to be I like the fab because, one, it makes you manage your money throughout the season. And every week on waiver wire, it's a league winning player supposedly on the waiver wire. So people blow all their money. And so by the time you get to week 14, the real league winning players available. Now that person ain't got no money to bid on it. So I think it's a game within itself, is that a player can hit the waiver and everybody has an equal shot to get that player.
I think it's the strategy on both. So you have to strategize on the waiver wire and in fab. So, in waiver wire, you might not want to blow that number one waiver spot if you have it. Like I drafted 12th in best of the best. I'm glad I got the number one waiver spot because everybody was picking up all the early studs. Now I got the number one waiver spot. So it's just strategy, and I may not use it one week, and somebody may use it to get somebody else. So you just kind of got to strategize how you use the waiver wire.
And I've been on the downside on both of them. Like I've been in the middle waiver, and like I've had a good week, but I lost, and my waiver spot still wasn't good, and people were still getting waiver spots ahead of me. I've been outbid before, so like I said, I don't have at this point, I was a little reluctant at first when it came to fab. I'm not even gonna lie. And once I've done it and I had the opportunity to do it multiple times, I'm like, okay, it's not as bad as what I thought it was. So, like you said, sometimes you do got to be open to change, and that is I'm glad I was open to that change. But it was like I've been burned on both sides, so it's like I'm not gonna put my stake on the ground. Like, you know what? I'm with fab. Nah, I ain't just with fab, and I just say with waiver. So I guess that's the good spot about doing multiple things and being in multiple leagues as well. That was not what I thought. Oh, team dynamics is what I wanted to go to. So the coaching changes that have happened in the league, different defensive head coach, more head coaches, offensive coordinator changes, more things have happened in the league. Who do you think, or which team do you think benefits the most from a coaching change?
Oh man, Chicago.
Chicago.
I know that was the
Chicago.
That's an easy Chicago.
I mean, that's the number one right there. Just from an offensive perspective. But then you also got to look at, like, and this is something I factor into a lot of my draft decisions, the offensive line. They've beefed up their offensive line, made it like 10 times better. So you pair that with the coach, I think Chicago is, the best pick in this category right here of just, who benefits the most.
That's definitely the low-hanging fruit of that one, for sure. Can I interest you in Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle doesn't have a new coach though.
They got a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You get a Clint Kubiak in there, and that system with those running backs. It was those running backs, and of course, and that's a defensive head coach who wants to run the ball. You have an emerging wide receiver in JSN. You bring in the Cooper Kupp with those condensed splits that he wants to do. I know they both play the slot with him. They both been playing in condensed splits. They both operating more so in the same areas. Could you see an uptick in those productions of those particular players that you're targeting? You know, that's all I'm saying.
That has, and it's kind of a low hanger. When I say low hanger fruit, it totally depends on which version of Sam Darnold you're getting.
That is true. That is true.
Am I getting Sam Darnold from Minnesota? Was Sam Darnold a product of Kevin McConnell? What's not? Is Kevin McConnell? What's the coach?
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell. Is Sam Darnold a product of Kevin O'Connell, or is Sam Darnold turned the corner and he's more of a better accurate passer, better in the pocket, more mobile? That's going to be up to it. That's why I'm like, I really can't jump on the Seattle. I see where you're going with it, and I want to be right there with you. It's going to depend on which Sam Darnold I'm getting.
And that is true. And just like
yeah.
And also just like Scrap Point, they had an offensive line issue, specifically in the interior. When we seen those last two games that Sam Darnold played bad in Minnesota, it was because they had offensive line issues. So if they haven't rectified their offensive line issues, then everything that I just said goes out the window.
Yeah.
But, just try to give a different perspective other than, because we knew it was Chicago, bro. They had way too many pieces to be bad on offense.
Chicago was the easiest pick because there's nowhere they can go but up. Like they can't play any worse than they played the last two seasons. They got nowhere to go but up. It's only room for improvement.
So I'll give you the other one, Jacksonville. And looking at somebody like Trevor Lawrence. You see what Liam Cohen did with Tampa as the offensive coordinator. You would think that would translate into the new offensive scheme in Jacksonville, and propping up players like Trevor Lawrence, like Brian Thomas Jr., even Travis Hunter. Backfield is a little bit iffy. We don't know who's going to be the number one in that backfield just yet. But if you see the way he used Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White, you can expect that there will be multiple backs that could be efficient in that offense. So, Liam Cohen would be another one for Jacksonville.
That's a good one.
I'll say this is I put Trevor Lawrence in the same category as I put Sam Darnold. Which Trevor Lawrence are we getting? Because I don't think we've yet to see Trevor Lawrence who he was drafted to be, who he was projected to be, who the tiers that we put him in. I don't think we've seen that Trevor Lawrence yet. And to be honest, this is Trevor Lawrence's last chance. Like, I think the writing's on the wall. I think if it doesn't click this year, then you got to start game planning or making at least bring somebody else in there to compete with them, because how many chances? Like, I've never seen a quarterback get as many chances to get as many passes besides Justin Herbert than Trevor Lawrence get. Like, and we can talk about Justin Herbert later, but I think Trevor Lawrence and then me maybe I'm a harsher critic. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer, and I think they do got the right coach. But if I'm that coach and knowing what I did with Baker Mayfield, I'm not going to hang my hat on Trevor Lawrence for my career. I wouldn't be scared to pivot if it doesn't work out this year with Trevor Lawrence.
We're going to see. This is the last year for him. But I also want to go into a coordinator change that I think is going to have a positive impact as well, and that's in New England with Josh McDaniels.
They bringing that fastball.
I didn't want to mention them because I got some players I'm looking at. I told y'all there's a couple of things I won't go mention because I got a draft with these.
I'm not gonna go too much into it because I got somebody on my list. But
man,
that Josh McDaniel move, I think that's going to benefit that defense. That's one.
I'm still a little wary about the wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. I like the presence of a Stephon Diggs being in there. I've liked the prospect of Kyle Williams. I like the prospects last year of Jalen Pope and Javon Baker. I like those. I like the tight end room. I do like them. But it was just so bad last year. Specifically the wide receiver core. They were just so bad. And I am a proponent of bringing somebody in to settle the room. I do believe that Stephon Diggs is going to settle the room. And do I think that Stephon Diggs is going to return back to Buffalo? Stephon Diggs? Hell no. But I just believe that he's just going to be a stabilizing force and allow these young wide receivers to actually ascend to some type of potential that they were supposed to reach.
Like, don't get twisted. Diggs can still run the routes and get open now. I don't think he's going to be. Yeah, he still can run the routes and get open.
he can run routes in his sleep. Like that's what
I think we're a little too harsh on Stephon Diggs right now.
No. I'm not being harsh on him. I'm setting realistic expectations for him. It's really what I'm doing. You know,
I think it's important to have somebody running the offense that can put the players in the right position too. And I think that's what Josh McDaniel can do. Terrible head coach, great offensive coordinator.
And we've seen that countless times where great coordinators but once they go back to coordinating, then they like Cliff Kingsbury. I think going back to the topic, what's a sneaky deal is the fact that Cliff Kingsbury came back to Washington. Because he had some hires, he had some interviews, and he had some interest out there. And the fact that he returned as offensive coordinator says a lot. Like I'm like the Commanders, I'm super high on them this year.
Now, one of the things that had me skeptical last year, I got burned by this strategy. I hate holdouts. I'm not a proponent of holdouts. I believe holdouts become, from a player aspect, players don't perform like they think they were going to perform. I hate holdouts. So, prime example, I was scared of Chase last year. I said, no, keep Ja'Marr Chase away from me. I'm not drafting Chase. I was even scared of CD. And, you know, I had to take my homer hat off and get on my fantasy joint. I'm like, yo, I got to stick to my philosophy, bro. Like, most holdouts don't end well, bro. They hold out, they're not participating, and then they show up. Next thing you know, boom, here goes soft tissue injury of some sort, and they just don't perform to their capability. Now, I was completely burned by Ja'Marr Chase, absolutely. But you think I'm about to be burned by Scary Terry? You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm he ain't practicing. He's older, you know. Than the two I named. Am I really going to let what Ja'Marr Chase did to me last year affect what my mindset this year when it comes to a Scary Terry?
No.
Okay, talk to me.
I'm with you. Like, if a player's holding out, I'm kind of like falling back from him. Now, Ja'Marr Chase and CD was kind of the exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
We've seen multiple players that hold out and they come back and they have a soft tissue injury, they have a hamstring injury, they're out for 6 weeks. And I think, like you said, Scary Terry, with his age and him not ramping up and trying to get out there, you know, and if they try to force him out there, I think it's an ugly situation. I don't want to touch it. So that's just my opinion.
That goes back to what I said earlier. If you would have asked me this 2 months ago, my value of Terry was a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
As far as fantasy-wise. It's now dropped to this level. I got an idea in my head of where I would feel comfortable taking him at. And that's where I baked all that into my ADP, my own personal ADP.
Yeah.
So, yes, I don't want him at his normal ADP where he would be if he would have been in camp all summer or whatever. Mm. But it's a certain point in the draft where I'm saying I don't give a damn how long he's holding out. He's not going to pass me at this point.
Okay.
Because I'll take the upside of him opposed to a player that I'm drafting on that same round whose ceiling is his floor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it actually do. Because you touched on that earlier when you talk about injuries. Like, at a certain point, I just got to take you. I got a Jay Sizzle player I stay away from is Justin Jefferson. He got a new quarterback and hamstring injuries.
Justin Jefferson might be the most quarterback. He's the most quarterback-proof wide receiver in fantasy. Like, if you say injuries, yeah, okay, cool. I have zero issues at any position in the first round taking, besides the first 2 spots. I have zero issues with taking Justin Jefferson at any point in the first round. I'll live and die with that one.
We talked about this. We talked about Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson. We made a trade where I traded him Justin Jefferson. And I told him, I said, I'd rather be a year too early than a year too late on Justin Jefferson because I thought he was getting too much usage. And he had like the breakout year that following year that I traded him to you, Bruce. But then the year after, he had the hamstring injury.
Yeah.
So I was a year too early. But I'm still taking Justin Jefferson at the 2-3 just because of who he is. Like you said, he's quarterback proof. When he's out there, he's productive. I don't see why you can't take him.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm going to take him. If I had one of them early picks and it came to me, like if I'm pick 4, let's say that 4 or 5, and Justin Jefferson is still on the board, I'm going to take him. But I'm still going to be a little reluctant because, okay, yeah, you got a little hamstring injuries. You will be fine by week 1. You don't need preseason. This is fine. Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 games. You already get double team crazy anyway, but now you don't have, other than TJ Hockenson, is the only one that's really going to take attention away from you. I'm a little worried about that, at least for the first 3 weeks. Like, for the first 3 weeks, I may not get the return on my investment from Justin Jefferson. He may not start hitting until Addison comes back.
I think the most underrated, not talked about aspect of the Vikings offense is that the Vikings they're a run first team. I don't think people think about that because Justin Jefferson makes all these highlight plays and Addison going out there. He had a semi-breakout year last year. The Vikings are a running team. Kevin O'Connell likes to run the ball. So I still think and Justin Jefferson gonna get his. Like, I don't care about double. They double team him when Jordan Addison's on the field anyway. Like, Justin Jefferson gonna get his, but I think they're still gonna be efficient running the ball. I think Aaron Jones, even though he's a little older, he's still very efficient. They brought in what's my man? They brought in
Jordan.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried. Be honest, I have no reservations drafting Justin Jefferson in the first round. Anything outside the first 2 spots, if he falls to me, I can make that pick and drink coffee at the same time. Like, I have no issue making that pick. I'll down that one.
Like I said, I still get him. But I'm still a little worried. Before we move on, we got another. I got Frizz. Is it crazy taking Luther Burden over Josh Downs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year. Do you see? Only because Daniel Jones won the starting job. Like, if it had been Anthony Richardson, then I'll probably take Luther Burden first.
I would have still taken Josh Downs. Because Anthony Richardson could get Josh Downs the ball. Because, I mean, he's throwing it 50-plus yards. Josh Downs, deep threat.
The only reason I say this, can Anthony Richardson keep 2 fantasy wide receivers relevant?
No, but
Michael Pittman.
But Michael Pittman would have been the one to take the hit.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, that's what we different. I still think it's Michael Pittman as the number 1.
Nah, Michael Pittman would have been the one to take the hit. He's not an accurate passer, so he's not going to be able to get the ball to Michael Pittman the same way he could get the ball downfield to like a Josh Downs or Alec Pierce. Completely different.
But Michael Pittman is a more big body, go up and get it wide receiver though. When you know what I'm saying.
Even though he's not accurate, you still have to be accurate enough to give him a chance. You feel what I'm saying? And with a Josh Downs and the Alec Pierce that's going downfield, when he just know he can just chuck it, that's an easier thing for him to do. So I even though that Michael Pittman is the wide receiver 1, like, I get it. Like, he is the stabilizing force for this wide receiver core in regards of that. But even though Daniel Jones like to throw the ball downfield, my whole thing, I'm going with Josh Downs too. My thing is Luther Burden got to show me at this point.
I like Luther Burden. I was high on him coming out of college. I was very high on him in the drafts. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm high on Luther Burden. What up, boy? But like I said, if you put me in the same round and they both are options, I'm gonna take Josh Downs first just because I've seen it before.
Stay here. That Josh Downs injury don't scare y'all. We stay here.
Josh Downs injury does not scare me. Not at where he's
not where his
drafted.
ADP is.
Yeah, not at where he's being drafted. Luther Burden has too much competition right now. We don't
know what that Chicago room gonna look like.
Right. He got Roma Duze. He got DJ Moore. He got Loveland Colston. He got Cole Kmet. He got DeAndre Swift in the backfield. I'm staying away from that. Give me Josh Downs because I think Josh Downs is going to be probably either 1A or 1B, the most targeted wide receiver in Colts.
Did y'all hear the report that Ben Johnson that wasn't supposed to come out apparently, but on the broadcast they said Ben Johnson said that Luther Burden has a chance to be better than DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. So I'm just all I'm gonna say is when coaches have their favorites, they have their favorites, and he might see Luther Burden in that Amon-Ra St. Brown role. So if you see him if you plug him in that role, that might be who they funnel their targets to.
Save this clip for the future.
Don't buy into it.
Save this right now what I'm about to say so it can be posted.
Okay.
If the receivers hit like they think they're going to hit, don't be surprised to see DJ Moore on a trade block before the trade deadline.
I could see that.
He didn't want to be there last year.
But there's a lot of teams need wide receivers right now. He's the oldest out of the group. He's the most expensive one out of the group. Do not be surprised to see DJ Moore on a trade block before the trade deadline this year.
I can see that, but if it's between Josh Downs and Luther Burden right now, I'm taking Josh Downs.
Today, as of August 19th, Now, could September 19th be a different story? Yeah.
All right, let's keep it fat. I almost took it real life. I had to.
It's fantasy.
It's fantasy. Okay, so Josh Downs is going to be the one. Oh man, I got Jay Sizzle is back. Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. I tight end one. I'm gonna go ahead and edit that. It's not even close. It's not even close.
Flip a coin. It's Brock Bowers for me, but if you got Trey McBride, you in a good shape.
That's tough.
I think it's close. I don't like you said, I don't think it's one of those where it's like, oh, Brock Bowers, easy. No, I think I think Trey McBride definitely has that opportunity. And let's just not forget, if Trey McBride could have gotten to the end zone instead of getting tackled at the 1 yard line a couple of those times that he did, he could have easily been tight end one.
Yeah.
I like both situations because they're both the de facto second option on their team, but they're really the number one option on their team. Like Jacoby Myers is a really good receiver for Las Vegas, but Brock Bowers, if you want to go by it, he's probably the second option as far as it looks. And the same thing, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., but we really haven't seen it yet. So McBride might be a little bit more of an edge where he's literally the number one option right now until we see more from Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, you can't go wrong. Like, they're literally 1A and 1A and a half. And I wouldn't even say 1B. Like, they're neck and neck to me.
I'm going with Brock because Brock is the number one, de facto number one in that offense. I'll get into why I have Trey McBride number two in a little bit.
All right, we'll keep going. I got Frizz got Braylon Allen or Austin Ekeler.
As far as handcuffs or what are we talking about?
Well, go ahead, AJ.
Brian Robinson is up out of there. And we've heard all offseason that Breece Hall might be on the move too, just because of how how he's moving. So it's almost in a sense of who is going to actually end up being the RB1 for their team. And to be quite honest, I don't think it's going to be Austin Ekeler if Brian Robinson is going to get moved, because he'll start the season as the RB1, but I see it almost in Zach Moss, Chase Brown type thing where he's gonna start the season as a number one.
And the rookies looked good last night too. So yeah.
And not just last night. They've been talking about him all off season. So yes, he looked good last night, but that is Bill Krosky Merritt. He has been, he's the reason why they're like, okay, yeah, Brian, do what you do. They're the reason why they're saying all of that, because he's been looking like that guy all camp. They love his explosiveness, his contact balance, all of that. So I think if you're going to ask that question, it's not Braylon Allen or Austin Ekeler. It should be Braylon Allen or Krosky Merritt, but that's just me.
I like Braylon Allen anyway, as a handcuff. Like, he's one of my, if I had to rank my top 5 handcuffs, he's definitely my top 5. Breece Hall, he's, to me, just from what I saw last year, granted Breece was coming back from an injury, he looks a little bit more explosive. Now, Breece is the better overall running back, but I think in another year in this offense with the new coach, and I just think, and they want to run the ball, if I had to choose, give me Braylon Allen all day long. Like, Eckler's my guy. Eckler's won me some championships before in the past, but Ekeler is not going to be that bell cow running back. Even if they trade Brian Robinson, they're going to be the minimum 2 to 3 back committee. So give me Braylon Allen.
Give me Braylon Allen. Just look at the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions offense, 1 and 2, Sonic and Knuckles. I think Braylon Allen is going to be that. I think he's going to be that guy because I don't see Brees. Brees didn't look good last year, and he got injured. And Braylon Allen kind of took over in like the second half of the year. So I think Braylon Allen is going to be the one to kind of be that 1A later in the season. Where Austin Eckler is Austin Eckler. He's old.
I'm fast on Austin Eckler.
He got some injury concerns.
Exactly.
Like the rookie Ja'Cory
Krosky Merritt.
Krosky Merritt. Yeah, he's probably going to take over, and then you're going to have other backs like mixed in, like Chris Rodriguez as well. So it's going to be a committee in Washington.
Well, I will say this, and I look at how I looked at Tampa Bay last year, where we were just waiting for Rachaad White to go away, and he never quite went away. Don't think Breece Hall just gonna go away. Like he's gonna be like I think everybody last year was just waiting for Bucky Irving just to be that. It was he did great, but he was never that bell cow. I don't think Breece Hall is going to go away, but I definitely can see him. I can see it going to a 60-40 split in carries by the time you get midway through the season.
And as you mentioned, I think Braylon Allen is actually built more for that every down kind of between the tackles role, and I think that they want to use like you said, Scrap, use him like a Jahmyr Gibbs, start putting him in the pass game a little bit more, and save his body so he's not just getting beat up in between the tackles. And like we've seen, Braylon Allen, that's a big boy. He built for that. So I think that you'll see that, but I don't know if immediately Breece Hall is just going to be able to come out and just be the version of Jahmyr Gibbs right away. But I think they're going to ease him into that role. But we have to just see what his touches look like. That's one of the reasons why it's like I would still take Braylon Allen, just because I think overall he has the highest upside to lead that team in touches. Austin Eckler, I don't see it.
Oh, not at all.
Things will have to go really bad for Austin Eckler to lead the Commanders in touches.
That's my whole thing. I'm like, bro, Austin Eckler, bro, like he's an injury waiting to have. He's old, bro. Like I get it, we love him. Like I said, he won, Marcus a championship in 1998. Like we get it, man.
There is one aspect that will keep Eckler on the field.
It's catching.
Eckler is a hellified pass protector, and when you got a rookie quarterback who is the franchise and your best player on your team, the running back who can pass protect will always see the field. I'm telling you that right now. He won't go away because he is by far the best pass protector on that team.
Also something to note is Breece's contract year. So if they're ready to move on from him and put somebody else into that position, it's going to be Braylon Allen.
That's a fact.
All right. That was an inside joke. I couldn't let it.
Yo, this last old joke we gotta keep the old jokes in the private chat.
I know. That's my fault. 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 We gonna go. Shout out to that guy Captain, man. Huge fan of the show already. So a quick question: should I trade Tyler Warren and Sutton for Ladd McConkey? I already have Bowers.
I wouldn't do it.
I like Sutton this year, man. I'm
because again, I was just about to say, Bo Nix and Sutton can be something. So sometimes you want to be able to be in a place where you stick with what you know. And if you already have Bowers, you are in a good spot because although we like Tyler Warren and we think he's going to be a big part of that offense, he's still an unknown, and he's still an unknown with the quarterback that they're throwing out there. So I wouldn't move too hasty because I also am not really sold on what this Chargers offense is going to be. You lost Rashawn Slater. There was already some problems, on the interior, and now you bring out Trey Pipkins out there again next to Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton looked good in Philly because he didn't have. We talked about this on our NFC show, but he didn't have to do anything but be big in Philly. Now you actually have to block, and you actually gonna have to learn some, to move and get in people's way. And let's not forget, even Mekhi Becton has injury issues. They just
Mhm,
caught lightning in the bottle by keeping him healthy in Philly all last year.
mhm.
So that could be another body that goes down, and then that offense looks completely different. They already saying Trey Harris can't catch either.
Yeah, if I would see if there's another receiver they would take, but I if I got to give up Sutton, I'm not pulling that trigger right now. Like I'm high on Sutton this year with that Bo Nix and in that second year with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. I'm not trying to give up Sutton right now.
Now, I think also from a fantasy perspective, you can put Bowers in your flex at that point. You could put Warren in your tight end and put Bowers in your flex and keep Sutton. So no, I'm not making that trade because Bowers is like having a wide receiver in your flex.
And to be quite honest, Sutton and McConkey almost seem to be on this, like they could possibly be in the same tier as far as, you know, what you might get fantasy wise also. So to me, it's almost like you're giving up two players of production to get one. And that doesn't make sense to me.
I can see Sutton outscoring Ladd this year.
Absolutely. That's 100% a possibility.
Yeah.
And Tyler Warren has top 10 tight end potential. So I wouldn't trade him and just to get Ladd.
What pick did you have, Captain?
Yeah, Sutton. Yeah, I like Sutton.
Boy, I got Ryan drafting at 11. I have a few players on my radar. Who do y'all think I should look for?
In the 11th spot, I just did a draft too.
Oh,
I'm looking at. Oh no, mind, because I ain't gonna say this. I got a draft. No mind. 11.
I'll say Drake London or Puka at the 11.
Okay, that's why I was going with Drake London, but I didn't want to say his name.
Yeah,
I was going with Drake London.
We still got a draft coming up.
That's what I told you. I was like, damn.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm at picking at 10 too.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm looking at Drake London, man.
Nah, but I could be quite honest. Nico Collins is in that same range as well. So
I don't think he fall that low. I hope I want to move back to 11. He fall to 11.
Well, what did I pick at in Busted the Best? Because that's how
it's some people that, you know, like I said, you can miss, but
yeah.
You two drafted in front of you, so yeah, you're right. But I'm assuming you're in a 12-team league.
And you know, also like it.
Go ahead, AJ.
It also kind of depends on what you what your philosophy is and how you want to build your team. Are you going to try and stack up at wide receiver? Are you going to go do the 0 RB thing and just try and get as many receivers as you can and get, you know, kind of that third or fourth tier of running back? Or, you know, like I said, it don't lock yourself in per se. Hey, shout out to my guy Keon Coleman. Let's not here for the jokes, all right?
you and Jay Sizzle budding.
I saw that come across the screen. I said, I was like, what?
I know he's trolling.
Be a troll.
I know he got to be trolling, but it's on the Summer Jam screen just because. And your man's is trolling too.
Oh no,
yeah.
DK.
Give me DK. That's not even close. I don't want no parts of Tyreek, especially with Round. Yeah, give me DK. They trying to get Tyreek ass out of there. And if the wind blow too hard, Tua gonna break his neck, and then Tyreek Hill value.
Nah, he's not saying DK Metcalf or Tyreek Hill. He's telling Hill to draft.
Oh, I thought he said
Metcalf.
Oh shit, my bad. I think he said DK Metcalf or Hill. My fault. I read that too fast.
I know we got the same.
He's telling Hill to draft DK.
Hell no, I'm good. I know this. I know this is not pick 11, but I'm pretty sure that their coach. These are similar tier players. So I got Frizz has Marvin Mims, Cedric Tillman, and Demario Douglas. Pop.
Ooh.
Give me ain't Pop coming off an injury.
Yeah, Pop good.
He's good.
Oh. I would still go Marvin Mims.
Give me Marvin Mims. I like the Sean Payton offense. He's the number 2 in that receiving room. I don't trust anything with Cleveland right now. They gotta show me. So give me Marvin Mims.
Give me Pop. Just because of what we talked about with Josh McDaniels. And Pop runs out of that slot a lot. So I think they're gonna target him a whole lot in that offense. Like we talked about Stephon Diggs. Stephon probably isn't going to be the same Stephon. I could see Pop being the number one in that offense as far as targets are concerned, with Josh McDaniels.
Yes,
And he added he has Sutton already.
So
okay.
Yeah,
if he got Sutton on his team, I don't want to give me Pop then. If he has Sutton, give me Pop.
I kind of like Cedric Tillman, man. I'm like
I don't trust none with Cleveland right now.
Well, I mean, what are we not trusting though? At the end of the day, I get it. We don't like them, but we don't like them in real life. Still talking about fantasy at this point. Like,
is Joe Flacco? Judy's going to be the number one. Is Joe Flacco at this point in his career? Is he feeding 2 fantasy relevant wide receivers? Plus David Njoku was there too, and then Njoku going to get his too. So technically, is he feeding 3 fantasy relevant pass catchers?
Well, yeah,
and let's not forget Njoku. I think Njoku had the highest targets in the red zone. So
yeah,
I'm not seeing it with Cedric Tillman.
The funny thing about it though, Jerry Jeudy only got greasy
because Jameis
with Jameis.
So I don't think nobody is gonna get greasy.
So yeah, so do we think do we even think any receiver gonna be that good with Joe Flacco?
No, I'm fading all of them.
What about Dylan Gabriel?
Fading all of them.
To be honest,
right. So as they move down the depth chart, you will probably be in the fantasy playoffs by the time they put, what you think might be a competent quarterback in the game. So it's too late. I'm not buying any wide receiver in Cleveland.
The only player I'm touching from Cleveland is Njoku.
Because
I will take a chance on Njoku. That's it.
Yeah, Njoku is the only one I'm taking a chance on.
This is the answer to pick 11 question, y'all. I'm just so yeah.
Okay.
So they assume Pop Davis over Luther Burden.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going Pop. Yeah, I'm going Pop.
Yes.
Luther will have to show me something. I'm sorry.
If Malik Neighbors falls to 11, I'm taking. I didn't say Malik Neighbors because I don't think he falls to 11. I hope he does. I hope he does. If I'm 11, that's a great. If he's there at 11, you run to the board. But I don't consider Malik Neighbors as the 11th best player.
I got a question. So do we expect New England to be ahead in games in a lot of games?
No,
they're going to run the ball, but it's going to open up the play action too. Josh McDaniels is great at play action.
No, I'm saying at the end of the games, do you expect New England to be ahead? No, but you trust Drake May enough to feed a couple of wide receivers in that offense, right?
Absolutely.
You don't?
I don't. It's me personally. I don't.
So who do you trust? Like, what wide receiver do you trust in that offense?
In that offense, I'm only going to trust
Kayshon Boutte.
You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to draft Stephon Diggs if I had to out of this offense.
See, I'm going the opposite way. I'm going Pop Douglas over Stephon Diggs.
No,
and I'm playing the waiver. I'm paying attention to the waiver. And that aspect, because at the end of the day, because I still feel the tight end is going to have more production out of everybody.
I'm gonna tell you why, because I think a lot of defense are gonna be playing soft coverage at the end of games. They're gonna be up. The zone's gonna be wide open. It's gonna be Pop Douglas over the middle.
But that to be quite honest, you actually just kind of gave a little bit more credence to Hill's point, because they got Hunter Henry and what's the other white tight end? Hunter Henry is basically Hunter Henry 2.0. I'm forgetting his name. I just said it on the last episode. Austin Hooper. Yeah.
Yep.
So they got Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. So if they're down in games and they play those soft coverages, those tight ends are going to be the ones that's finding those zones and sitting down in those zones to get peppered with targets and then maybe get a couple up the seam. And we've seen what Josh McDaniels has done in New England before, when they had their success running those 2 tight end sets. And so, yeah, you got a Pop Douglas to kind of move in the slot, but I don't think he's an Edelman or a Welker. So I don't see him kind of just jumping in and getting those targets, especially early on. So I believe that if you're going to buy something in this offense, I would go with the tight ends, because I think you would be able to get them at a better ADP, and you can get somebody that's a little bit more valuable with those picks, trying to get instead of getting a DeMario.
I agree with you.
I agree. I just think Diggs is going to be more of a possession receiver at this point in his career, and I'm higher on Diggs this year than most people are. So don't take my bias out of it, but I'm just higher on Diggs.
I was just answering the question. I'm not being disrespectful or dismissive. It's just more so I'm more so playing the wave when it comes to them. Like somebody's going to emerge, and somebody's going to if you believe in Drake May and you believe in Josh McDaniels. If you believe in those people, those two individuals, then somebody else is going to emerge. But at first, I'm only drafting Hunter Henry. When it comes to,
you mean
like,
Diggs?
No, I'm only as far as the wide receiver. If it had the wide receiver, yes. But if I had to answer it for it's only Travion Henderson, maybe Ramondre Late, and Hunter Henry. These are the only people I feel comfortable drafting. If I have to draft Diggs when it come late, okay, cool. I'll do what I got to do. But I only can put my stake down for those players that in New England. We still talking about New England, bro. Like, I get it. We got the upside. We feel good about Vrabel and all that. I get it. But all right, we ain't see that much for Drake May.
No, we didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but once again, that's my real life kicking in as far as the fantasy aspect. So once again, I'm only 1/3 of 1/4 of this. Don't listen to me. I'm the
and I will say, as far as the fantasy aspect goes, when it comes to the draft, I think you could try and get some higher upside. I don't like sometimes, like when you get in those late rounds, you want to find like, oh, who could be that late round sleeper that could kind of end up being a league winner. I don't see any of that potential on this offense, even with what you think a Pop Douglas can be. I don't think he's going to be someone of extreme significance that once you have him on and after like week 3, you're like, damn, I can't take him out my lineup.
Nah, I think he's like a bye week flex replacement or something like that. He's somebody you keep on your bench.
Right. And that's why I say, depending on how what kind of league you're in and how many spots you have on your bench, play the wire.
Yeah, I agree.
Drake.
Yeah. I think
I saw a comment about Stephon Diggs being hurt. If you drafted
Stephon he is
Diggs,
questionable.
I pray that he's your flex at best, and that you can afford to, even if he's not ready week 1, that you can either bench him or stash him until he's ready to play. Like, if you get to a point where Stephon Diggs has to be your wide receiver too, then I'm passing on him, going with somebody with a little bit more upside.
In my eyes, you're better off letting someone else pick Stephon. Like, you're better off trying to find another play in that spot and letting someone else take that chance.
Because at the end of the day, because like you say, for the first couple of weeks, if they don't produce, somebody's gonna cut them and get them up out of there. Boom, waiver wire, boom, do what you got to do.
Exactly.
If you new here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I want to appreciate everybody that joined us tonight. Just make sure you catch us on all major podcast platforms. It's 3Man Weave _. You can email us at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. Put your notifications on and make sure you see. So next time you see the next fantasy show, the next 3Man Weave, the next Dallas Duo, the next anything, make sure you have your notifications on and you'll be able to support and join the conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're going to end this fantasy aspect show, but the next fantasy show will be showing up soon because some of these drafts is going to be showing up a little bit sooner. And then, like I said, we can help you on your strategy, on your lineup strategy, and that we can move on even further. So yeah, man, I want to appreciate Scrap. I want to appreciate Mark. I want to appreciate AJ for showing up. I'm Hill, and there's no crying in fantasy. So hey, listen, man, wipe them tears, bro.